hello and welcome. Today's topic is retirement planning. Now, what is retirement? Everyone knows that once we stop actively working or actively earning, right? Who of you thinks that he'll work for entire life or you'll earn active income forever, like throughout your life? I guess no one. I can't certainly be, right? Everyone has to retire. Maybe partly, maybe 75%, 80%, but everyone retires with age, right? Moreover, even if you are willing to work, but you won't be able to physically, right? Mentally, your capabilities gets down, gets lowered. So we need to plan for that age. That once we retire, how do we manage our expenses? And the early you start, the better it is because the lesser the funds you have to invest every period for your retirement corpus. All right, let's understand how do we go about it quickly. What is the current age? Let's understand a person is currently aged 30 and he's going to retire at 60. Another thing is that he's going to live till 90. The life expectancy for that person is 90 years of age. Now, one thing, current annual household expenses at his age 30, annual household expenses for him is 10 lakhs per annum. Let's assume that. And the annual rate of inflation is 6%, right? And the rate of investment or rate of return for this person is 8% per annum. Now, how do we go about it? First thing first, now we have to inflate these expenses from current age and take it to the retirement age. Like what will be his equivalent expenses at the retirement time? So how do we do that? Simple, we'll inflate the current expenses for 30 periods or 30 years. So how do we do that? Is equal to current expenses, which is 10 lakhs, multiplied by, simple, bracket open, 1 plus R. What is the R? Inflation rate here. What is the inflation rate? 6%, right? So inflation rate is 6%. If I multiply it by or raise to the power by 30, that means the expenses at retirement per annum when he'll be 60 will be 57 lakh 43,000. Now, if I have to manage my expenses post retirement at 60, I need these expenses, this much money for 1 year of expenses from 60 to 61. Now, what do you think? At 61, would I need the same amount? No, not exactly. Why? Because again, the inflation is going to continue, right? And if I am assuming that inflation will be 6% only, then next year when I turn 61, I would be needing what? This amount inflated by 6%, right? So every year I'll need inflated amount by 6% in actual terms, in actual cash, right? And how do we calculate that? So for these amounts, these inflated amounts, I need to accumulate a corpus at 60, which I will invest at the time of retirement, and then I'll withdraw yearly or periodically till I live, right? And how do we calculate that corpus? Simple. First, you have to calculate a real rate of return. What is the real rate of return? It is inflation adjusted rate of return. And why do we use this rate? Because as I said, we will need inflation adjusted cash flows post retirement. All right. So let's do. How do we calculate that? For real rate of return, we have a simple formula which is equal to 1 plus rate of return. 1 plus rate of return is what? 8%, right? Divided by, I'll put the brackets here, divided by 1 plus inflation rate, which is 6%. 1 plus 6%, bracket close, minus 1. So this is the real rate of return. This is what we have to use to calculate the corpus at retirement. Now we will calculate the corpus at retirement. Corpus needed at retirement for post-retirement expenses and inflation adjusted expenses. So is equal to present value, rate we have calculated 1.8868, comma NPER. What is the number of periods we need? We are retiring at 60 and we are expecting to live till 90. So 30 periods, 30 years. Comma PMT is meaning the first cash flow, which is what we have calculated, 57 lakh 43,000, right? This is what we need. All right. Comma FV 0 and type is 1 because we need the first cash flow as soon as I retire. So I need 13 crores 31 lakhs approx at the time of retirement at 60 if I have to get cash flows inflation adjusted for post retirement life. Now, investment needed per annum. If I need to accumulate this corpus at the time of retirement, by the time of retirement, from now onwards, when I am 30, I should invest annually some amount to get that corpus accumulated at retirement. And how do we calculate that amount? Simple. we'll use a formula called PMT, bracket open, rate. Rate means the investment rate. If I invest certain amount periodically, that amount will be invested at what rate? That rate of return, which is 8%, right? And then NPR, for how many periods? It will be for 30 periods, because I'm 30 now and I'll invest till 60, right? So 30 periods, 30 years I'll invest every year. And what is the PV? Currently am I investing something? No. What is the FV? What do I need to accumulate? The future value. Future value is this amount which I need to accumulate, which is 13 crores 31 lakhs. All right. And FV is done. Now type is 1. I'll start right away when I'm 30. Right? You should start good works right when you are there, when you think about it. So I'll start the investment right away. So I would need to invest 10 lakhs 88,000 every year starting 30, and then I'll be able to accumulate 13 crores 31 lakhs approx of corpus at retirement, which will manage my post-retired life cash flows, right? When I will not be earning actively. Now we'll just test this if this is the correct calculation or not. Let's see. Beginning corpus is what? This is what we have accumulated, right? Yearly, first year withdrawal when I'll be 60. For my expenses from 60 to 61 will be what? We have calculated it, 57 lakh 43,000. So this is, now what will be the closing corpus? At 60, I have 13 crores 31 lakhs. I withdraw from them 57 lakhs 43,000 right away for my first year expense. Then what am I left with? The balance amount, simple. So I'll subtract this. This is the balance I have. Now this will remain invested for interest rate, right? So this is the opening balance for the next year, which is 61. And what will be my withdrawal for the next period? Every year my withdrawal will increase by the rate of inflation, which is 6% in our case. All right. So here I go. But this investment will earn interest. Won't it? Yes, it would. And what rate? At the rate of return. So I'll multiply this by 1 plus, what is the rate of return for me? 8%. 8%. All right. I'll close this. So for my second year, the opening balance will be closing balance for the first year multiplied by or added by the rate of return, right? And my second year cash flow will be what? The first year cash flow inflated by the rate of inflation into 1 plus 6%. Rate of inflation is 6%, right? So this will be my second year cash flow. And closing balance will remain same. Opening minus withdrawal will be closing the same. So let's just select these two, select these three and double click. Let's check if our calculation is correct or not. Yes. So it says at the end the corpus remains 0. See, the closing corpus remains 0 at the end. So that means when we are expecting our life till 90, by the time we turn 90, we will have no corpus left, and every year we are withdrawing inflation adjusted expenses. So we'll be able to meet our expenses, or our lifestyle will be able to be matched for our post-retirement life as well. So this is a very simple calculation. Anybody and everybody can do. Rather, anybody and everybody shall do. Even if you lack certain funds currently, there is another concept called step-up SIP or gradually increasing SIP. Through that also you can manage your retirement corpus. Even if you are not able to invest 10,88,000 right away, or whatever your amount comes out to, you can start with small amount and then gradually increase the amount as you earn more in the later years. So we'll read that or understand that sometime later. For now, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.